You're gonna like this one.
Girl, y'all ready to go? I'm ready. Where we going? I heard then Uncle Soul
I'm really happy today to be here with my friend Mark Hawwa, who is the founder of the Distinguished Gentleman's Ride. The Distinguished Gentleman's Ride, if you're not aware of it, is it's a rally for vintage and custom motorcycles that connects sartorial style and gentlemanly behavior with the culture of motorcycling. Now, what's been amazing about the Distinguished Gentleman's Ride is also how it has become a global phenomenon, happening, I think, today in 500 cities worldwide, which is amazing. And it also, Mark has been incredible in using it as a vehicle for raising money for specific male-oriented charities. So, Mark, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome to our studio here in
Pleasure
Singapore.
to be here.
Tell us a little bit about how this started. Where did the idea, where did the genesis for the Distinguished Gentleman's Ride come from?
So I guess the actual idea itself, it all stemmed from an image that I saw back in 2012 of Don Draper from Mad Men.
Right.
But I guess the story starts a couple of years earlier, where I absolutely fell in love with custom motorcycle culture in Japan. I was in Tokyo for 4 weeks and I fell in love with, I guess, the unique style of every single motorcycle that I saw. And for me, it was something that I hadn't experienced before. So I came back to Sydney and bought a motorcycle and thought, okay, this is really fantastic.
What did you buy?
I bought a Yamaha SR500.
Cool.
Very popular in Japan as
Right.
the SR400. So for me, I started customizing it and I thought, oh, this is fantastic. It's really unique. It feels like I've had this really important role in turning it into something that's mine.
Right.
And I went riding and I thought it was fantastic. And then I quickly came to the realization that being a really social guy, I'm bored because I had no friends to ride with. I didn't have any friends that had motorcycles.
Right.
I didn't have any family that had motorcycles. I was the first one. And what ended up happening is I started up a group called Sydney Calf Races.
Right.
And it was all about uniting motorcyclists in Sydney.
What I really like about the group that you created as well is the inclusiveness, right? Because a lot of times in motorcycle culture, they'll be like, okay, you're a Harley guy, or you're a Ducati guy, or you're a sport bike guy, or you're a classic guy. And I love the fact that it was very egalitarian.
In Australia, we've got this very difficult mentality where people are assumed to be negative or dangerous or bad because they ride a motorcycle. And sort of through this journey, I've found out that in a lot of countries, it's the exact same story.
Absolutely.
And so for me, the first thing was breaking down stereotypes. And so in that first year, we started breaking down stereotypes, and we were riding through the heart of each city globally, and people were clapping and cheering, and kids were high-fiving as you rode slowly down the street, dressed up classic manners, classic motorcycles.
Yes.
And it was just an amazing feeling. And in that first year, we had it in 64 cities across around 20 countries and
Amazing.
2,500 people. And then the second year, we decided to really start to focus on what was important to us, and that was about supporting men's health.
Right.
And we had a couple of members that were suffering prostate cancer and had gone through the process.
Yes.
And so for us, it was a really natural connection to effectively work with different prostate cancer foundations and focus on men. And fast forward 4 years, and now we're sort of working with Movember Foundation, which for us, we're both fighting the same battle. So it made perfect sense to partner up and really tackle this together.
That's amazing. Talk to me a little bit about the relationship with Movember Foundation. I know this year, for example, you will be raising funds for both prostate cancer, but also for men's mental health as well.
Yeah, so in the past we've always focused on prostate cancer, and a big part for us was always creating a lot of awareness and about educating men. I think the thing that we have the biggest issues with is people don't realise that once you're over 40 or if you've got a family history, you really need to get checked. And so we hold the fundraising important, but on a higher level we hold the awareness that we create.
Yes.
Because we know that we can save lives and change lives now, whereas research, we know that it might be 3, 4, it could be even longer years down the track to effectively come up with the results that we want. And then what we ended up doing is last year we unfortunately had one of the guys that rides with us, and he also hosts the Austin ride. He took his life, and he was suffering depression. That wasn't something that we knew, but we were working really closely with him because he was one of our key rides in America. And it was 3 weeks after the event that he committed suicide. And as a result of that, we thought, okay, well, we feel that we've been raising a lot of awareness around men's health and prostate cancer, but we feel that we need to start focusing a bit more on depression and men's health issues around male suicide prevention.
I have to congratulate you in creating something that's so extraordinary. It's amazing because you kind of predicted this whole idea of classic style coming back, and both related to sartorialism but also to motorcycling. But one very key component of that is also internal content, right? Your manners and how you consider other people. And for you to put a face onto classic style, classic motorcycling, but also to think about other people in this way and to make it cool and fun and young and sexy. I think that's amazing. So I really have to applaud you for that.
Yeah, definitely. And I think one of the things that we found really important from the start is my mother and father always taught me that respect is the most important thing in the world. And I was always the child that would get up off the train seat to let the old lady sit down. I was always the guy that would help someone carry a pram up the stairs. And a part of that is that starts to go missing.
Yes.
And effectively, it's not a nice place to live in when that goes missing. And so in that first year, it was, hey, if there's a crossing, slow down and stop. Let someone cross the road safely.
Absolutely.
And show your manners. We're not bad guys. We're a bunch of positive guys that are enthusiasts. Riding motorbikes, building motorcycles, that's our hobby. And what this does is effectively, it gives us longevity in what we do, and it makes the community a better place. And for us, I think we want to be able to sit there and once we finish this event, know that when it's done or when the time comes where it does end, everything's got a lifespan, that we effectively left the world a little bit of a better place than when we first entered it.
You know, I participated in the ride last year in London, and there was this really palpable sense of euphoria afterwards, because I think part of it was obviously the incredible colorfulness of the event, and how it's a very positive event because it's one that brings people together and everyone's having a great time. But also, you leave that event knowing that you've achieved something concrete in terms of raising funds for a great cause.
Yeah, definitely. And that feeling, I mean, we experience that feeling even though we're working so hard day in, day out. And, we have 14-hour days, 15-hour days in that office. It's that feeling once the event is done, it's signed, sealed, and delivered, and you've been able to bring these communities together. And when you're there at that event, it's not so much you're there with just this little local group of 200, 300, 1,000 guys.
Right.
It's the fact that you know that you're in a point where there are 550 other rides and 550 other groups of guys and girls that are effectively doing the same thing. And it just makes this really strong bond between, yes, the person that you're right next to, but also people globally. And that's why, for me, it's always been important to keep the date the exact same. And obviously, we get a lot of pushback from people that say, would rather do it in this month or this month. But for me, it's a really important thing that date stays the same, and it generates a lot of buzz.
I believe last year you raised a pretty impressive amount of money. I think it was $2.3 million US.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me about what your objectives are for this year.
So this year, it was probably a little bit crazy, but we decided to attempt to double the goal, and a big part of that was the fact that we had some great sponsors come on board, supporting our previous sponsors as well. So we had Triumph Motorcycles and Zenith Watches, but then also the relationship with the Movember Foundation and being able to learn from them and work closely with them. We're talking about the world's biggest men's health charity.
Right.
So we've been able to take some key learnings from there. We thought, okay, with all these little elements coming together, let's set the goal a little bit higher, and let's really drive our guys and girls to raise some more. So we had some amazing video content, some amazing photography. Our messages have been very clear and concise. And currently we're tracking about 70% better than we did at this time last year.
Wow, amazing.
And it's amazing because it feels like it's a little bit slower,
yeah.
But as of right now, we've raised $1.7 million US. Today, last year, I think we're currently sitting on about 900,000.
Someone even who doesn't ride a motorcycle, how can they donate?
Best way is just to jump on the website. So everything that we do is very transparent, I guess. The funds actually go directly to Movember through our website. So the best way is to jump on www.gentlemansride.com and donate. But in saying that, I mean, we know that we're definitely in some countries around the world where, that sort of fundraising participation doesn't exist, and there's definitely some countries that we're in that are in third world countries that really struggle to support us financially, and that's completely cool. For us, it's about spreading that message, and if you do know that you've got a family history, getting checked, getting your PSA test done, and making sure that you're going to be around for a while to come, so that you can join us.
So you are coming to London this year to participate in the ride there. Why did you decide on London?
I guess for me, it's motherland coming from Australia, but it's always been one of the most beautiful rides in regards to the actual city, the bikes that take part. I mean, a lot of this culture did originate, the culture of the cafe racer did originate in the UK. So for me, it's always nice to go back there and enjoy it and be able to check out the Ace Cafe, like the bike that I'm sitting on. So it's a key ride for us. It's one of our highest fundraising rides. I think it's actually second to Sydney. I've done Sydney 3 times. I did LA last year, and I guess for me it's about taking the opportunity to meet some of the riders, being able to spread my message, but also being able to go overseas and having fun.
Talk to me a little bit about the day that follows the ride. I know that you are working on a charity auction to raise a little bit more cash, for this great cause. How did that come about, and what are your expectations from that?
Yeah, definitely. So every cent definitely counts, and this is the first time that we've held a charity auction. And slightly nervous to a small degree, being the first time that we've done something on this scale. But the idea came from a very good friend of mine called Wei at the Reagan Revolution. And so together what we've done is basically partner up and make sure that we're going to amplify this as much as we can. We've got some amazing prizes on board. Huntsman Seville Row has been absolutely amazing in gifting us the space to be able to run this event. And as a result, I think we're sort of hoping that we could raise anything from $50,000 to $100,000 on top of the total, if not even more. So, I mean, if you're in a position to come on down and get a little bit boozy and bid on some items, please do so.